y'all. My name is Devin, the DIY Lawn Coach. Thank you so much for coming back and checking out another podcast here on the Lawns and Life podcast. We are on to episode number 3. So Halloween is over, Thanksgiving is over, and most of you guys got snow either that last week or maybe even the week before, which is crazy that the lawn season kind of came to an end that fast. So got a really good podcast planned for you guys today. We're going to talk about 5 things that nobody really ever tells you about when you get started into lawn care. You know, they'll tell you all about the fertilizer and which one's best, and they'll tell you about your mower, and they'll tell you about your weed eater and all that stuff. But there are 5 things that I want to talk about that we don't really talk about, and kind of interesting there. And then we're going to wrap up the podcast today talking about how you balance lawn care and life. This is a Lawns and Life podcast after all, so I want to spend just kind of a minute talking about that. You know, I'm a dad, I've got 2 kids, full-time job, and I want to give you guys some tips and things that maybe I've learned over the years that will help you manage lawn care, because I get a lot of friends and you know, comments that say I just don't have time to do that, or this, that, and the third. So I just want to have a conversation. So sit back, relax. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Let's get into it. All right. So let's talk about the 5 things that nobody really tells you about when you decide to get into lawn care. As I mentioned in the open, you know, they'll talk about what fertilizer and, you know, how much to apply, and they'll talk about the mower that you need to have a beautiful lawn, and they'll talk about, you know, all the equipment side. And that's great, and that's all great information, and we need that information, but there are 5 things that I want to talk about that kind of a little bit harder to talk about. And the first one is just how expensive lawn care is. And, you know, I told you, I've said this before in other videos, you know, we want to view lawn care more as a hobby, more so than a chore. I've said that a couple of times now. And the reason why I say that is because when you decide to get into lawn care, there's a huge time commitment. We'll talk about that a little bit later too, but it's also very expensive. And depending on the size of your lawn, it can be even more expensive. So I want to share with you guys kind of what it costs me per year to take care of a 20,000 square foot turf type tall fescue lawn here in North Carolina. I'll kind of tell you guys what I think it costs me per year. But I want to break down some of the aspects of, you know, kind of what factor into the cost. Because we get a lot of new people, a lot of people that are kind of getting into lawn care for the first time. And I just want to put that out there for you. I wish somebody had told me about some of this stuff when I was first getting into lawn care. And if you have a cool season lawn, like most of us do, fungicides are, initially when I got into lawn care, I didn't think that having fungicides was something that you necessarily needed. I thought maybe they were kind of snake oil, if you will. And I'm here to tell you right now, they are not. If you want a high-end, really nice turf type tall fescue lawn, cool season lawn, fungicides are really going to become your go-to strategy for really surviving summer. But they're also very expensive. Azoxystrobin, I think, is like $200 per gallon. Propiconazol's a little bit less than that per gallon. But most fungicides, Cleary's is very expensive. I mean, they're expensive. By nature, they're expensive. And so a piece of advice I want to give you that I talk about a lot on my channel is I want you guys to focus on the cost per ounce or cost per application, and not the cost per bottle. Because, you know, when you buy a gallon of azoxystrobin and it's $200, you look at that and you go, wow, that's a lot of money. And I'm not kidding. That is a lot of money. $200 for some fungicide for a gallon is a lot of money. But when you break it down, cost per ounce, I think the use rate on azoxystrobin is like 0.38. For my lawn, that's the minimum application rate. And so you divide that out by the number of ounces, and it really can be quite affordable if you break it down per, per ounce or per application, as opposed to, going to a big box store and buying the Scott's Disease X, which has the same active ingredient as the azoxystrobin, where that bag may only be, 35, $40, but it only covers so many square feet. So you can see how when you start doing the math and you start looking at it, those cost differences. Bio-advanced fungus control for lawns, active ingredient is propiconazole, or at least that's what it's always been up until now. So always go back and check and make sure we're talking the same thing, because I don't know, how long this video will live out in the interwebs. Always check for yourself. But propiconazole is the active ingredient. I buy propiconazole by the gallon, and when you break it down cost per ounce, the gallon comes out to be a whole lot cheaper than going to the big box store. So yeah, I mean, they're expensive. Fungicide play a huge role in the overall cost of my lawn, but it's something that I'm willing to pay for because of the advantages that it gives me. Pesticides, bifenthrin. I typically use bifenthrin. I suggest that in all of my my clients to use that for pest control. Not cheap. Fertilizers. We're feeding several times per year. Again, fertilizers are not cheap. Seed. Think about cool season lawns and overseeding your lawn at the end of the year. The cost of seed. So I think this year I bought 2 45-pound bags of fertilizer, or not fertilizers, grass seed, and they were $160 delivered to my door. That's 5 pounds per thousand. So yeah, almost 100 pounds of grass seed. So, I mean, that was expensive. Another bag of fertilizer, that was $70 plus, all the other aspects of it. So it can be very expensive. Water, I am fortunate enough to have an in-ground irrigation system that I had put in several years ago. That probably cost me $5,000 or $6,000 to have that put in. I don't know that I could take care of my lawn if I didn't have that. Let me back up. Yes, I could take care of my lawn without it. Yes, you can you can have a really nice lawn without a lot of these things, but they're just tools. Then they help us. And the more you use them, the better your lawn's going to look. No questions. So having an irrigation system, having access to water. Water's not cheap. I think my water bill is probably, and I'm on city water and I don't pay for sewer. I have a separate water meter for that, but I think I pay probably $100 a month in water during the peak season if we're not getting rain. Gas for your mowers and maintenance on your mowers and oil and filters and sharpening your mower blades. And so all of that, right? Like that's a lot. It's expensive. And I wish, maybe I don't wish, because I think if I had known, I probably wouldn't have gotten so deep into it if I knew. So I think I estimate that it cost me probably $6,000 to $8,000, maybe $10,000 a year to take care of my lawn, which is a lot of money. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this. I don't think she watches these podcasts anyway, but I hope she doesn't. I hope she doesn't know that, because that's a lot of money. She'd be like, man, we need to put that towards the kids. But again, I'm not into chasing women, and I'm not into cars, and I'm not into a lot of the other stuff. I'm into lawns. That's my thing. And so yeah, $8,000 to $10,000, $6,000 to $10,000, a lot of money. Something else I wish that I had known, or things that nobody really talks about, and this is really important. So pay attention to this. And I think if you are a seasoned veteran in the lawn care community, I know that you're going to agree with me when I say this. The basics of lawn care are so important, and so many people that I see and talk to struggle with the basics. So blocking and tackling, right? Think football. Why are we running a wide receiver screen if we can't block and tackle? And when in lawn care, blocking and tackling is mowing, fertilizing, and watering. Mowing, we want to mow often. We don't want to break that 1/3 rule. We want to be mowing at the proper height for our grass type. Watering, right? We got to get an inch of water per week in the summertime, maybe a little bit more. We want to water at the right time of the day, early in the morning, fertilizing, we got to fertilize, we're trying to have a really nice lawn. So we need to feed it, to encourage it to grow, but we want to do it at the right times, when the temperature is right. We want to feed it the right nutrients that it needs. And so, I do lawn coaching on the side, and I'll tell you, the main thing that I drive home with my clients is making sure they are blocking and tackling, mowing, watering, and fertilizing. And I harp on that, and I think they probably get tired of me saying it, but it is so crucial. Something else that you don't really think about in lawn care, I guess, would be how much time it takes. And we're going to talk a little bit later in the podcast, so make sure you stick around for that. But we're going to talk about how you balance all of that. But it's a big time commitment. I've got again, 20,000 square foot lawn. Takes me roughly an hour to hour and a half to mow, trim, blow, all that stuff. And that's, we talk about the importance of mowing. Sometimes I have to mow twice a week, sometimes maybe even 3 times per week. And so having, that time commitment is a lot. Again, I mentioned I've got an irrigation system, so I don't have to drag that water hose around, but I've done it. I had a nice looking lawn without an irrigation system for a long time, so I feel your pain when it comes to dragging a hose, but I did it. We talk about just the maintenance aspect of the mowing. So it's a huge time commitment as well. Something else that a lot of people really don't talk about is how you become a weatherman. You really become in tune with the weather. It's kind of funny because my friends are always like, dude, you always know when it's going to rain or when there's a cold front coming or a thunderstorm or whatever. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just weird like that, I guess. But you have to pay attention to that in lawn care. I'm always focused on, the air temperatures and how that affects my lawn, and are we getting rain? Weather. I say this in a lot of my videos. Weather is the primary driver of what we do in the lawn. Everything we do in the lawn is weather related. So is it hot? Is it humid? Are we getting rain? Is fungus going to be a problem? Is it going to get cold? Are we going to get snow? Or whatever it is, whatever weather situation we're in, you have to pay attention to it. We're going to talk again a little bit about managing that later, but if you can time your application, fertilizer application, or something that needs to be watered in around rain, well, then you got to pay attention to when it's going to rain. So just, all that good stuff. And then really the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to, the fifth thing that most people just don't tell you, when it comes to having a really nice lawn or getting into lawn care, is how you have to stay consistent and you have to stay patient. The consistent aspect of it is being consistent with your fungicide applications and being consistent with your mowing and being consistent with your watering, being consistent with your maintenance, all those things. You just have to be consistent. And I don't know anybody, if you play, I play the guitar. If you guys don't know, I play the guitar. And in order for me to learn to play the guitar, I had to consistently practice. I don't know how you get good at anything if you're not consistent with it. And lawn care is no different. Patience. So it's kind of funny because, these are the two things that most humans are not really good at, right? That's being patient and being consistent, right? And so I think if everybody could be patient and be consistent, it'd be a whole lot easier and everybody would do it, right? But we don't. So patience. I've talked about this before in other videos, but you have to have patience when it comes to lawn care. Grass grows very slowly. I don't think that's breaking news, but when you certain aspects of lawn care. So say you have an issue in the lawn, and the reactionary person in me wants to quickly do something about it, throw something down. And you have to be patient. You have to properly identify what's going on, or what is it, or what's causing it. Is it a pest? Is it a fungus? Is it something else? Rather than just willy-nilly throwing something down. And it takes time. It takes patience to develop, a soil structure. When you're applying humic 12 and you're applying those biostimulants, it takes time. Over time, being consistent, being patient with that. When you plant new grass seed, I think we instantly want to have really nice lawn, but the truth of the matter is it can take a season or two, sometimes three, for that grass plant to fully mature and reap the benefits of buying that high-end grass seed that you chose. So you just got to be patient, be consistent. But I just thought that was pretty interesting to talk about some of maybe the 5 things that a lot of people just don't tell you about when you get into lawn care. Because I know, again, we've got a lot of new people who maybe are getting into lawn care or want to get into lawn care. So I just want to share my thoughts with you on that. If you're a seasoned veteran in the lawn care community, leave a comment down below. Would love to hear from you, and give me your thoughts on something else that not really many people talk about. Y'all, so we talked a little bit earlier about the 5 things that nobody really talks about, and I want to spend some time in this last little segment talking about how we balance lawn care and life. So I'm a dad. I've got a full-time job. I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I've got 2 kids, a wife, dog, social life, friends, sporting events with kids, all that stuff, just like you guys. A lot of you guys are just like me. And so I want to give you guys some insight, maybe some tips on things that I do that help me manage and balance, lawn and life, and how you maintain somewhat of a personal life with a lawn, because it can be very overwhelming. And the first thing I want to talk about is making sure that you are prioritizing your time with the things that are the most important. So we talked a little bit earlier about the mowing, the fertilizing, the watering, and those are the most important things that you're going to do in the lawn. So when you are deciding, when you're kind of mapping out your week or your time or what you're going to do or what application you're going to make, making sure that your mowing, your watering, and your fertilizing are coming first are really going to help benefit you. If it comes down to, hey, on a Saturday, I've got time to mow, or I've got time to put down my pest control, right? I would probably tell you focus on the mowing and not worry about the pest control, just because the mowing is more critical. It's more important to your overall success. So just keep the important things important, put them as a priority. If you've got time for some of the other stuff, if you want to be religious about putting down your humic acids, but you're busy, don't worry about that. That'll be okay. Focus on your mowing and your watering, and then keep the things that are important. Another tip that I want to give you, we all get into different seasons of life, and our lawns are no different. Our lawns have seasons too. Spring and fall typically are the busiest. Summertime, we can kind of kick back and relax. And wintertime, obviously not a whole lot going on we could do in the lawn because of the winter. But, our lawn season has seasons too. And so when you get into really heavy or demanding periods of time, don't be afraid to use plant growth regulators, especially in the spring and the fall when you're getting a lot of that flush growth. That'll help you manage your time. You know, a plant growth regulator will help reduce some of the growth of the turf. It'll really drastically slow it down. I've got some videos on that, so that'd be a great place for you guys to start. Go check that out if you haven't seen the video on plant growth regulators. But it'll help you manage your time. For me, I probably during the peak growing season, let's say I'm mowing 2-3 times a week. If I use a plant growth regulator, I could be mowing once every 10 days. And so you can imagine how much time that would free up every week. And so that's a big, that's a great way to help manage your time. If time is something that you struggle with, balancing lawn care and balancing life. And when it comes to time, and this is more of a life lesson more so than just lawn care, but it applies to lawn care too. And that is to invest in equipment or things in life that will buy back your time. And what I mean by that is do things or buy things or spend your money on things that will help you be more productive, help you buy back your time. For me personally, I invested in a Toro 50-inch riding mower, zero turn, and that helped reduce the mowing time. So I went from mowing, with a Toro, I think 21-inch maybe, and it took me forever to mow. And so bumping up to a 50-inch, investing in that piece of equipment helped me buy back my time. Spraying, for example, liquid fertilizers. The great thing about liquid fertilizers or backpack sprayers, and why I'm a huge believer in that, especially someone with a big lawn, is a backpack sprayer. I can put in my fungicide, I can put in my fertilizer, I can put in my biostimulants, I can put in all this stuff into one tank, and I can make multiple applications with one spray. And so I'm buying back my time. I'm able to invest in, a sprayer, a really nice sprayer that wasn't cheap, but it helped me buy back my time and give me more of that life, lawn balance that was something that was really important for me. So it made me more efficient. Another really good piece of advice would be an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's really important to make sure you're putting down your preventative, grub application to prevent the damage from the grubs that you'll have to then spend time, money, energy on later fixing, when it's just so much easier to put down that preventative grub treatment and not have to worry about grubs, or to put down a pre-emergent in the springtime. That way you're not fighting crabgrass and all these other weeds later on in the year. You're proactively, stopping weeds, and it'll save you time down the road. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Another good tip is to make sure that you have a plan. Make sure you know when you're going to map out your applications. Have a plan. Having a plan does a lot of different things. Number one, it helps you be more efficient and know when you're applying things down, so that when you need to apply your fertilizer and you look at it and you go, okay, well, I need to apply my biostimulants and my fertilizer. Well, I know that I can combine those together, and I know that I need to put those down, rather than just deciding on a whim you're going to put down fertilizer, and then a couple of days later you're like, oh, I need to put down my RGS. And you could have combined that. That'll help you save time. Not to mention, having a plan helps you budget. We talked earlier about how expensive lawn care is, and lawn care is very expensive. And so if you can kind of help budget yourself and have a plan and know, that you're going to be applying these things, and you can buy them when they're on sale, or, just again, having a plan, being intentional will certainly help you. And then the last tip that I want to give you is actually one I'm kind of, it's not embarrassing to talk about, but I guess everybody does it, right? We always call the front lawn the main stage. And so we talk about getting back into your seasons of life, and maybe you focus on the front lawn. Say you have a big lawn, and you want to just focus on the front lawn, not worry so much about the back lawn. Don't worry about if it's not perfect or pristine or mowed or edged or whatever. Focus on the main stage where someone would see it, right? That's what people see. So you don't necessarily have to edge and mow every single time you mow either. I don't. Every time I mow, I don't perfectly trim and edge everything every single time. You just can't do it. But maybe you focus on the front of the lawn and not so much the back, and just kind of let it go. That'll help you manage your different seasons. Let's say maybe you're going to have a baby, and babies are very demanding on time and how much time they take. And so you say, well, I'm going to let go of the backyard for a while. I can take that over in a year from now and get it back, but I'm just going to focus on the front. And now you split your time that you would be spending in half, right? And your budget in half, right? So, just manage it the best you can. And I think those are some really good tips. Again, if you are a seasoned veteran and want to leave tips below in the comment section, please comment and let me know what your thoughts on there and if I missed anything. All right, y'all. So that just about does it for this podcast. Thank you so much for checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something from it. Again, these are a lot of fun for me. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. My name is Devin. I'm the DIY Lawn Coach. Peace.